Hello, Internet. Thank you for joining me in the workshop this morning, or this afternoon. Yeah, a little bit late start. So today we are going to go through my process for making a wing rib. I got a lot of projects going. As you can tell in the back from right here, this is my stack of wing ribs. We're getting about halfway through, I think is the current statistic. And yeah, I got the process down a little bit where I'm comfortable showing it off. So welcome aboard. Let's make a wing rib. I'll step you through most of the entire process, not the whole thing, because all this indicated boring, but I'll show you some of that. And then I will glue up a whole wing rib for you so you see how long it takes. Typically about 45 minutes for the glue up on one of these, but we'll see how we do. Welcome aboard. Okay, walking over, we have the sanding station. This is where I sand all the metal fillets. This is the buckets of magic. You can see them all laid out here. We got the little fillets here. These are all laser cut a little bit earlier, all laid out kind of like a wing, so I can just go through and plop, 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 get them all done. And let's start that whole process. One of those, that's the bottom row. So I'm sanding these to take off just the little bit of fresh oxidation on the top layer. This is just to promote a little bit of the adhesive, the epoxy penetration, as well as give it some fresh material. It increases the bond strength. And I'm sure that's sickening to you viewers at home. Let's not do that. I need that one. This one only gets glue on the ends, so that's a full set. Now we walk all of these guys over here, where they all have their own place. 26, 29, 26, 29. I got the 5s, and the 11s, and the 24. That's extra. Now we do all the tops. Now you may ask me, hey James, why are you doing all the sanding and not getting any of the char off the edges? Well, in honest truth, the char on the edges don't actually affect the glue surface. The glue surface here is between the face of this gusset and the rib material itself. So by sanding it like this, just enough to clean it up, it's re-energizing the surface. All these micro cuts that the sandpaper creates are now very fresh and very open for the epoxy to get into. Create a very strong bond. Now, if you don't do this, yes, you will get a very strong bond, but this is just that little bit extra. And from working in industry, I know this is going to make an impact, so I'm choosing to do it on my airplane because, well, 10-15 minutes of sanding. If it makes a wing rib that is 5 or 10% stronger, I think it's worth the investment. You may ask yourself, how much does a couple swipes with sandpaper make? I don't know if you can see the gloss there, but that's a significant difference. It's just enough to take the oxidation layer off that side. And if you're thinking about timing, you want to do this in about 24 hours. This effect will go away. Do this one? I can't tell. Yeah, this one was done. I saw a little puck mark. So that's the whole set. That's all the sanding I need to do. Okay, let's mix some epoxy. I use old soda cans because the dish in the bottom works really well to get into this corner. There's no area where I can't scoop out the material. And they're really cheap. And reusable and all of those things. I guarantee you I'm pouring out equal amounts of resin because they're different viscosities. They slow down or they slump at different rates. But I guarantee you that's going to even out. So that's about what I use. Now it's just mixing epoxy. Oh, and because I now have rubber gloves on my hands and because I am mixing epoxy, this is probably going to be one continuous, except for the fact that I have no timer. Because I usually mix this on my phone. Well, you'll be able to look down in the timing section of this and see how well I am doing for time on this. I usually mix for 2 to 3 minutes. And following all the good practice, not letting any of the resin bunch up, making sure it's all scraped down to the bottom, cleaning off my stick a couple times so that everything gets mixed in well. Oh, now while we're on the topic of disposables and rubber gloves and such, these are the thinner ones, these are the cheaper ones. I highly recommend getting the thicker variety. These, use once and throw away. The blue ones, the thicker ones, I can get 3, 4, 5 uses out of them. And I would much prefer to be able to reuse my gloves than having to throw them out every time. I don't know. Call me a tree hugger. I just hate throwing away stuff. I'd rather buy it once and use it a couple times. So the epoxy, this is just the T88 that came in the kit. I should say this kit is an Airbike. This is a standard airfoil. I haven't modified it at all. This is just what comes out of the box. I did build the jig and the ribs all myself. Let's see, one of these should have, I had this laid out earlier. So this form, all the 3D blocks I printed myself, designed them myself. But they all lay out to the standard kit. And this right here is the first and biggest pain in the butt, is getting these things to line up and stay on. So I've got this line here. Let's get that in view a little bit better. And only a piece of this gets epoxied, because as you build the wing, some of this actually gets cut away. So this is how I do it. Epoxy that on, make sure it's even, and grab one of those. And the line there you see lines up with the top edge. Oh, I didn't say it didn't fit everything. I may have to abort this one. What am I doing? Number up 15. There's the line. I've done this before, honest. And 8 goes in between. And because of all the tension built up by the arc of the form, that. Now that's perfect. And that stays in place all on its own. So these were pre-sanded prior. Usually do all my pre-sanding prior. This one's going to be a little different. Now this one, the concern is always getting it even. And as you can tell, I am a big fan of the binder clip. Now, those are going to stay on for a while. Next step up. Yes, I realize I did not do a bunch of these. I don't have a 23. 10. 10 is next. 10 is here. 10 is there. 10 is also not sanded. Should fit good. Epoxy up top, epoxy on the bottom, and it's stuck all the way in. Very good. And 6 goes here. And that is perfect. Snicks right in there. Don't know if you saw that. Share some epoxy. Very nice. 23 here. Here's my 23. A little long there. Very nice. And just like that, nothing fits between. There are 19. 19s are up over here. There's 19. You can see it's fresh laser cut. Yeah, some of these didn't come out so great. Oh, I need my 3 in here first. 3 is up here. That one fits perfect. No sanding necessary. Yes, and as I said before, these ends, these are still the laser cut ends. These are raw. I did a test earlier, and the epoxy penetrates so very well on that charred end that it was pulling up a whole bunch of wood fibers and all of the through layer. The char is not the weak spot, so I'm going to leave it because it's precision cut and I know it's there. Now the piece that needs to be a little bit of sanding here. As I was saying, the piece that needs to be fit in a little bit more are these cross sides. But again, these are compression members. The adhesive, the epoxy on these joints is in compression. It is not the critical member. The critical member are all these cheek joints right here. Those are the ones that are going to affect the strength, which is why the gussets we sanded so incredibly much. This is number 16. It's up here. There's the 16. Let's see this end up here. Get that nice and sanded off. Just to clean up. You can still see through it. My vertical piece. Let's get 32 in place. 32 here. That's the 32. Then we test the 32. That fits. Squish, 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 squish. Just like that. 16. Doesn't fit any smoother. That's very nice. And the objective here is just enough epoxy to fill in the gap. And the rest of this is going to be used in that face joint, so I'm not too worried about a little excess. And that will all wash out in the end. 20 goes here. Sorry, I had this one fitted before. I know it works. There's the number, 20. And so I've got a little extra notch here. It's from on the root rib where that has to have a little kink in it. Just gives me another excuse to use a binder clip. The binder clip keeps it forward, keeps it vertical. And the number 4. Here's number 4. No gap. This whole YouTube thing works out pretty well. I tend to talk to myself anyway. And now I've got a friend to bring along for the ride, right? Okay, so stepping back. That's all laid out. Now we start on the paint in the bark part. This part is the gussets. You think I tell you? Fiddly little things. Don't need a lot of epoxy. Most of this, if I leave it on, it'll be squeeze out. And click, just like that. There's a detent in there. It just grabs onto it and holds it. So that's all I need to do for that one. Nothing else to worry about. These, on the other hand, these are a pain. So this is my process. I put the top one on to lay as a reference to watch it. Helps the metal model of spread epoxy here. Most of this guy gets covered. You can see here the little tail there of that second beam extends all the way out there. And you may wonder about these holes in there. Those holes are strategically placed so that, well, they're in the gap between. Okay, so I just happen to choose to explain this one on the one that's miscut. But you can see that's where I wanted it to be. You can see through. Yes, I screwed up on that one. I fully own that. And that's the side I need it on. You'll see where this comes into play. I don't know if you can see it in the light where I'm spreading epoxy and how I'm making sure that enough is on. This goes on top. Right there. And the points I want to check, I want to give it a really good squeeze to align all the different layers, top to bottom. And the notable feature here, I have a pointer stick. The top layer, this area of this top rib gets cut away when I free the ailerons. Otherwise, that's fully glue. In that witness hole, I can see there is epoxy all the way through. And I want to make sure that I have it on top here. Very good. My favorite cheapo clamp. Make sure that bottom layer didn't move at all, and I can see through the holes here, so it did not. On to the next. These go like that. I find it's very convenient to have the one piece on top. Even now, having gone all the way through these. Too much. Not enough now. I've been through this multiple times. I still find it very, very handy. And like I said, these holes, having them there to be able to illustrate the lineup of things. Make sure nothing's over on the edge. And you got a good squeeze out all the way around. Maybe this guy's a little far forward. And I can tell that because those two holes, those are directly lined up on that. And I'm lining up the top and bottom edge. So that one was marked a little wrong. But this is where it gets fixed. And if I didn't have those witness holes on the gussets, I'd not be able to make that game time decision. So much like the other one. Don't want to squeeze it around, just want to make sure everything's lined up vertically. And a good squeeze out all the way around. And now here's where things can get a little finicky. I'm happy with that one. On to the next. That's a nice number 5, so I'm going to put that on top because I'll see it. Now this one, once you start reading how I did the holes, you can tell where to put glue. Because not this whole surface needs glue. So you see that? So this is the rear spar pocket. So lots of protection there so that the little rib pieces don't. I'll check really quick. This is the right side I'm putting epoxy on. And blink, just like that. And you can see some squeezing through there, some squeezing through here. And all those holes are lined up. Again, lots of pressure top to bottom to make sure that everything is lined vertically. Make sure we don't have squeeze it on the inside, or the ribs don't, the gussets don't come over. And I put these on kitty wampus a little bit. Just to make sure it's bridging across all three of them so they're planar. And then this corner should exactly line up with the edge here. So all those things, that's the best I can do. You can see this one's now down a little bit. It's non-planar. But that takes care of when we do this one. And this one's mostly feeling that edge line up. And you can see how that hole, it's a lightning hole, but it's also a very important tooling hole. That metric of, yes, it's lined up to everything. Everything's where it's supposed to be. If I need to, I'll throw in a happy little tree there. Get some Bob Ross moments going on. Squeeze that in real tight. A couple of reasons here. This one's going to be open for a little while longer because it's so close to this edge. I need to get both of these done before I put the binder clip on. Thought popped into my head. Are you worried about using too much epoxy on any one of these joints? I'd say my greater worry is about using not enough epoxy. And this entire batch for this entire wing rib is 7 grams. If I am heavy-handed and use all of it, maybe it'll be a gram or 2 over what I would normally. But if I'm under, and one of these is a dry socket, that's not something that I'm going to know until it breaks. So that's my concern with using too little versus too much. And this one feels like a little bit too little. I don't know, maybe I squeezed it too hard. Maybe there was a little bit more on glue squeeze out or absorbed into the wood. But I'm going to make that one look a little nicer and a little more. And now of all of them, this is the most finicky. The most moving parts at once. You can see that right there, it shifted just a little bit as I squeezed it on. But now it's got good pressure. Drop that bottom edge up and over a little bit, feeling with my finger on the back side. See what's true there. That feels good all around. That one's done. Now, being happy with that one where it is on the top surface. Ooh, see that move? That was not all the way against the rib. Now we got a nice flat front, right in there, and that side's clamped together. So that I'm happy with. And let's see, 29, 29, and that looks like a top. That's the bottom. Squeeze it out. You see it pumping out there. Like that. Check all the corners, looks good. Pressure in the middle. Very happy. Another thing about the gussets, the lightning holes. You know, if I were to push this up, like up here, you'd be able to tell that those holes aren't bottomed out, tangent to that bottom member. So by putting those lightning holes in tangent like that, they act as tooling holes, and they give me the confidence to know that that is in the right spot. Or as good as humanly possible. This is not going to be a perfect airplane. I'm a realist as well. But that being said, I'm building something I will go flying in. So it is as good as I can reasonably make it. That bottom edge, no. Even though the laser cut, there's the slightest variation in some of these brackets. And that's one of the things you just got to accommodate. It is what it is. I have a limited amount of time to make everything happy. I'm guessing a good 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes in to this batch of epoxy. Look at that line up. Just give it a squeeze. Everything kisses. Very happy. Now in these, I want the center of pressure a little bit off this top edge, otherwise that top edge steals all of it. don't have a lot of compression going down the bottom. And so we need the compression right across the joint, not across that edge. That edge is nice and compressed as much as it needs to be. And this is about when my shoulders and back start feeling it too. So if you hear me sighing, that's what's happening. So what happened there is that I put the binder clip on, it was kinked a little bit. And so when it squeezed, it pulled that bottom sheet toward the edge. So I just quickly adjusted it and put it like this, and then squeeze back. That one goes on top. As you can see, I use plenty of epoxy. I would rather it come off in the clamp than have a dry joint. Yeah, I apologize. Some of this is out of frame and done by feel. I'm feeling to make sure the corners on the back side line up. If you can think of a camera shot that would show that, feel free to tell me below. Not quite sure I have one for you. but basically my fingers are here. That's nice. That's good. That's a nice 18. Oh, okay, this is a nice 18 too, but okay. Let's see, all of them are clamped, all of them are good. That end point's done. We got some extra epoxy, whatever with that. So I screwed up. The edge of the table here got about an 1/8 inch gap, so that's where all my extra epoxy is going. So I don't know if you guys know about this, but this is a Crunch Labs plaque. My youngest son, he's on season 2 of it, and I'm hanging on his wall. But Mark, there's nothing to hang it on the back with. But I just happen to have some extra epoxy. And I know that doesn't look level from the camera view, but it's level, believe me. I've got it marked on there. That's what I do with my extra epoxy. Well, at least today, that's what I'm doing. There, see. Of all the extra I had, you know, I made what, 7 grams of epoxy? Slowly but surely. Working that in there. I don't know, I'm half done with my wing ribs. I may need to start wasting a little bit more, but that's going to go up there to dry for next time. And if we smooth this around, it's probably the 6th or 7th time I've used this can. That'll be fine there. Let's see, everyone's happy there. I think it's time to record. What time is it? It's not 9:30. What time is it? 3:30, let's say 4:45. How embarrassing, I didn't change my watch. And this is rib 15. Okay. So, that's the wing rib process. Using a 3D printed jig that I catted up myself. I think there are plans either on my Patreon or my EAA website, EAA Builder's Log. This video is going up there. And yeah, stay tuned. After wing ribs, we got the spar to work on. So plenty more to come. Hope to see you on the flip side. Cheers.